Hi everybody, this is Caroline from SewCanShe.com, and this video goes out to my sister Kat, who didn't believe me how fast and easy it is to sew up a face mask with a pocket inside. This one I'm using is the Olsen mask pattern, and I have used pattern pieces face one, mouth one, and cheek one. I find that's all I need. The doctors who designed this pattern didn't realize that sewists already know how to place their fabrics wrong side together and cut out two pieces at once. So that's what I'm doing. I'm cutting out two reverse pieces from each of these pattern templates. And to make things even really fast, you can cut out four pieces at once if you have a sharp rotary blade, and then you can make two masks from that. Just remember to cut out opposing pieces from each pattern template. Now let's get down here, and here are the fabric pieces that I have cut out using high quality, tightly woven quilting cotton, and this is even a batik here for the mouthpiece. Now I have pressed this long edge on the cheek piece over to the wrong side on both of my cheek pieces, and then also both of my mouth pieces. And since the batik is reversible, I was just careful that I removed the pieces and then I pressed a 1/4 inch over on this straight edge so that I have opposing pieces here. They're reversed images. So let's get started. Let's sew this together. Now I'm just going to start sewing on a little leader piece because that helps me from getting the small edges stuck down in the feed dogs of my sewing machine as I get started. And I'm just going to sew across this folded over edge on my mouthpiece to make a simple little hem, and I'm doing it with both of my mouthpieces. Very simple hem, and now I'm going to do it the same with my cheek pieces. And you see I'm not even stopping to cut the threads because I'm going to do that when they're all sewn. So here's the other reverse image cheek piece. There we go. Now here is my face piece. They are right sides together, the two pieces cut from the same template. And here I'm just going to sew along this curved edge here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'll backstitch a little bit here at the start and then sew around it. 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now, before I break threads here, I'm going to go to the beginning of my little string of pieces here, and I'm going to cut off my mouth pieces. The reason why I'm just leaving all these strung together on one long line is just so that sometimes, because this sewing machine has a really large opening for the needle to go down so I can do wide zigzag, sometimes small points like this will get stuck down in there, and then it creates a little trouble to get it out. So if I just sew everything in, this is called chain piecing. If I was making a quilt, if I chain piece everything like this, then I don't have that problem. Probably because the piece behind it keeps going and it keeps it from getting stuck down there. So now I have placed my two mouth pieces right sides together with my little hems on the straight edge, but I'm going to sew again this curved edge here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. We'll start here. I'm just going to backstitch a little bit at the beginning and then sew around. And now I'll break my thread and I will cut apart all of the pieces here. And then I'll be ready to sew them all together. So here are the two cheek pieces. Here is my mouth piece that is sewn like that. And here is my face piece. And the face piece is actually the exterior of the mask. So I'm going to set it like this Then I'm going to take the mouthpiece and place it right side against the face piece. Now, I have here this deep indentation here that is the nose, and I have the same thing here on this. So I'm just placing these both right side up with this deep part of the mask matching. And then I'm going to match the seam at the top and pin. And I'm going to match the seam at the bottom and pin. I'm actually nesting my seams here to make them line up and smush together when I sew them. That is a quilting technique, but you don't have to do it. I find I do it out of habit because I make a lot of quilts. So there I have it. I have my exterior, which is face on the pattern piece, and then I have my mouthpiece. Okay, they're right sides together. Now I'm going to take one of my cheek pieces and I'm just going to lay it here against the flap. And I see how it all lines up perfectly, so that's how I know I picked the right one. If you, for example, tried to put this piece over on this side, it doesn't line up perfectly. Kind of like doesn't line up right here. So I know that right now I have this piece upside down. And if I just put it over here, it's going to line up perfectly. Now, because I am speed sewing this mask, I am just going to use one little pin right here. If you wanted to be more careful and line everything up perfectly and make it, I don't know, maybe a little easier, but maybe not, you could put pins here too to pin these edges together. But this is my speed method. I'm going to take the other side, lay it down here. It overlaps here with the mouthpiece, and it totally covers the face piece. And I'm just going to place one more little pin. Okay, so I've got a total of 4 pins, and it all looks nice. So I'll start, it doesn't matter where you start, I'm going to just start about right here, and I'm going to sew all the way around the piece with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now, because I didn't use very many pins, I might have to stop a little more often to realign my fabrics. Here are my nice nested seams, which is just a habit that I'm into because I'm also a quilter. And I just need to, there we go. See how this cheek piece just overlaps smoothly. Stop with the needle down, pivot, and keep going. Stop with the needle down, pivot. One more stitch. And now I have come back to the place where I started. I'm going to sew right on top of that stitching and back stitch just a few stitches and then break my stitching. So here we go. The piece I've sewn all the way around it, and I'm just going to clip the corners a little bit. This is just so that when I turn it, I can have nice pointy corners. Just gets rid of a little bit of the bulk. And here I have a little chopstick that's going to help me with turning. So I'm going to turn the face mask right side out through one of the openings at the mouthpiece. When I showed my Thai friend how I turn these right side out with a chopstick, she laughed so hard. You see, I'm just very gently pushing out the corners. There we go. Now I am going to go to my ironing board, and I'm just going to press this piece a little bit around all of the edges. That's just another habit I'm in because I'm a quilter. I like to press everything before moving on. So I'm gonna go do that and I'll be right back. Okay, now I have everything looking nice and pressed. The last step in this pattern is just to fold over the ends by about 1/2 inch and make a little casing for the elastic. If you are using the hair tie elastics, you'd place one edge of the hair tie in before folding it over and sewing so that the hair tie is permanently attached in here. For this one, I'm not gonna do that and I'll show you a different elastic choice. So I'm just gonna fold it over about 1/2 inch. And then I'll go ahead and stitch close to the edge here. There's one. Okay, I'll tidy it up by clipping my threads a little bit. For this one, I'm going to use what is probably my favorite kind of elastic. It's called fold over elastic. This is the 5/8 of an inch fold over elastic. It is sometimes used for things like swimsuits and underwear because you can fold it over and sew it around the edge of your project, and it just makes a nice soft and stretchy waistband or leg band. But for this, I'm not going to fold it over and sew it. I'm just going to use a bodkin, which is a handy little tool. You can also use a safety pin. And I connected the elastic to the end of my bodkin. And I'll put it through the little casing. And I'll put it through the casing on the other side. Just pull it through about evenly. And now I'm just going to tie this elastic in a knot. I'm not going to tie it very tightly so that the wearer can make it tighter if they need to. I cut a 25-inch piece of fold over elastic, which is quite generous. It'll fit an adult pretty well. An adult might have to tighten it up. A child will definitely have to tighten it up, but there is that option because I didn't tie the elastic very tightly. Something I suggest is asking your spouse or older child who can handle a rotary cutter to cut the fabric pieces using the templates while you sew. I've used that method before and I have made a ton in a short amount of time. So that is me making a face mask from the Olsen pattern. It has a pocket in it. It was very fast and easy. You saw my speed method. And as you can see, I put on a clean shirt and put on makeup for you. Even my red lipstick, because this is me getting out of the house today. Be safe, everybody. Just stay home and sew. That's what I'm doing. Talk to you later.